Oh, welcome, Tiger, as well. Good to see you. As always, if you have any questions, just shoot them at me. I want to go over Bitcoin first and some alts which do have my attention, which are basically these. And then we can go over some other coins or just some general stuff. I'm doing good, Tiger. Hope you are doing well as well. Market is boring as fuck, but I love to see that the community is active and still going. Behind the scene, we are working on some interesting stuff for when the market gets heated up. Personally working on some kind of how to say, getting the system in order so I can kind of explain it in a much better way, and also working together with Daniel on some super cool stuff for when the market isn't that boring and there are plenty of opportunities. Then those things can be super valuable. But for now we will keep it secret. But it will be very worthwhile. So also working on a new PR. Yes. Actually I have when is it? Yeah, next month I have the half a marathon and I want to run a PR there. But there's still work to do. But if I have it in my mind, most often it will a personal record. So I want to like 21 kilometers. So it's not, the distance won't be a record because I try to run my age each year, but I want to do it in a record pace. Thinking about, I'm not gonna say it, but there is work on the table and not too much time anymore. Public relations. Also kind of public relations. Okay, so let's go into the price action. Yesterday we did have the move. Let's clean this up. So we had that early, this was the weekend price action, and we had that early week move, basically squeezing higher, mostly stopping out shorts, and basically taking that liquidity from last week. So early, or like last week, when we were in this downwards compression, I was interested in a long to trade it up, basically back into this level, because as we have seen, like the week before, we had this super slow grind up, basically just grinding higher. Then we had this range, and then we had this last week, this grind down. So my expectation was to look for longs this week to get that move higher again, take out basically this liquidity into this supply, and then from there look for shorts again. Unfortunately, we did not get the long, or at least I did not get the long, because I was mainly looking for a sweep of this low into this demand. This was where I was interested in long, but instead we took out some of this weekend liquidity and then started pushing aggressively higher, not giving me any structure to work with. So we just squeezed higher, and then there's not really anything to do until we either get structure or a range to work with. And that range was formed right here, where we get that sideways price action. But as said, I can only take shorts if I have a structure on my hand. And because we, like even on the 50 minutes, the only structure we had from this low up was this high, higher low, higher high, higher low, and then it was basically higher high. So this was the last structure point, which is way too low to confirm anything. So in this range we either need to make a new high, because then we have a new structure, which is now this higher low, higher high. So now our more important market structure low is at this level. Or we need a range in which we get a distribution model or a kind of PO3. So eventually we got this super aggressive push yesterday. I was not at home when this happened, so all of a sudden I got some alerts and I saw that we reached that supply POI, which was marked out yesterday, together with that naked point of control, which was resting at 65k, which was perfectly hit. So we can see that the market is just going from liquidity point to liquidity point. like here. Those red lines, that are the daily point of controls, which like each time I mention them, because they have like a pretty high win rate to sooner or later always be taken out. So last Monday when we had that drop, when we took that short last week, then we price left behind a daily point of control right here. And we can see that with that move yesterday into supply, price directly tapped into that level and then rejected. So a super clean liquidity grab going lower. And if we now look like where is most liquidity resting, then on the upside nearby there is nothing really. We took out this. The only levels now on the upside are some poor highs, which are basically above the range high we made last time. So from a pure liquidity perspective, that liquidity is resting above this level. So I don't see much reason for price, if we want to stay, like keep rotating in this internal range, to go above yesterday's high. If we start going above yesterday's high, then I think there's a reason, or like a chance, that we get acceleration higher. Simply because if we are purely rotating from liquidity to liquidity, what price has been doing all the time in this range, then the next easier liquidity points are below us, which is the daily point of control right here from left behind from Monday, and then a poor low from also Monday. So if we're in a range, and we are in this range for a few weeks by now, like more than a month already, then you should most often just expect rotations back and forth until proven otherwise. So that's also what I'm for now expecting. So I think this high is pretty solid weekly high, also because it's put in on Tuesday. So we know that it is often very, very likely that you either your Monday print your a weekly low, which is right here, or your Tuesday. If you make a new high or low after Tuesday, then oftentimes you get acceleration to the other side. So I think there's very good chance that this is our weekly high, simply because it now mitigated that supply, took out all the liquidity. So in a range, price always moves from liquidity to liquidity. Basically all the upside liquidity has now been taken. So, and there's a resting liquidity below. So then I expect a rotation lower until proven otherwise. So I think this reaction right here is exactly what we wanted to see. And now we have kind of a local PO3 idea, where this was our range. This looks like the manipulation above. And this could be the retest, where we kind of get like a model 2 or bearish PO3 with a 3-tap setup. You can give it all kind of names, but essentially it comes down to the same principle, that this was the deviation and that we now look for a lower high for a lower low. And that's also what I'm looking for. So yesterday I was interested in a short. I was really doubting to get in a short right here and just give the stop a bit of room. But that's also why I made a post today. It's not my system. So then I get stressed because I don't know exactly what is going to happen. And then now I would also think, shit, it's coming up back to my entry, what should I do, blah blah blah. So this was just a good example to just follow the rules. And now if I get a model 2 anywhere in this supply and I see weakness, then I'm going to short it. So the levels I'm looking at for that short, and then basically that short, I'm mostly looking at this demand, which is that demand also with daily point of control, 65k, basically this level. But I do expect that, like, this was mostly a short squeeze, so I don't think it's a super strong demand. So at best, I think we might get a bounce back into and then go back to the range lows, to Monday's low. So this is what I'm mostly looking at. So this is the invalidation, or not if I'm gonna short it, probably not my invalidation, but I think this is a solid invalidation for the bearish bias. If we take out that high again today, then I think we could squeeze quite a lot higher. So then my bias, bearish bias is gone. But as long as we hold below this high, I think downside is more likely. And then the levels I'm looking at to get into a short is basically these supply zones, which are, look, it's a 2-hour supply zone, so the last buy to sell, and it is also combined 1 hour. So a 1 hour and another 1 hour, so basically 2-hour candle, divided into separate 1 hour supply zones. So if I see weakness inside here, I'm looking for shorts, because this is basically our extreme supply. And we also have extreme liquidity, which basically our first lower high. So in case we want to grab all liquidity before reversing, we could also get towards this liquidity level. And then I'm looking for lower high there. So also alert there. And what you then always can do is to watch if I have a supply POI or short POI, which in this case is this whole zone, including this extreme supply and at extreme liquidity, then you want to see structure break back into your desired direction. So now I'm looking for shorts. So then I want to see that this internal structure, which is pretty clean, I want to see this break back to bearish. And preferably, of course, I want to see the supply be tapped. So right now we are in the supply, so then I think there's a reason for price to go higher. So I do expect that we reject a bit, and then during New York, for example, push into it, then break structure. Then that would be for me a short trigger, depending on how the RR is looking. But if we get like a solid break of structure, then any retest here, I'm interested in shorts. And this is nice because here we have super solid local structure. And if you already look, if I zoom a bit out, you can see that this is weak structure. I do not think that this is going to hold. I think this is just more liquidity, and that we take it and then can quickly take it all out. So I really like this potential bearish PO3 kind of idea. However, the internal bearish breaker structure needs to be clean, because if we follow structure, we cannot ignore that we are uptrending as well. So this could be, because this was a super aggressive push, this can also be just a higher low for a higher high. So if I want to short it here, there needs to be clean internal weakness, because otherwise you could be shorting a very simple uptrend, and that's not what you want. So yeah, simply waiting for that supply PY to be hit and then see what happens. Let's see what we locally have on the daily. Okay, daily point of control below us here, nothing too special. Okay, the open interest is still declining. So we are still going higher and open interest still moving lower, which is at the best a warning sign that you want to have the open interest increase together with price. That shows strength. Right now it's doing the exact opposite. So that could mean that once the market has found or wiped out enough shorts that it can retrace very quickly, because no one is really supporting this move. Except some, we do have some spot buying, but it's not really too strong yet. Besides that, we do not have super clean levels locally. So I'm just waiting to see if I get confirmation for a short. And either I want to do that on BTC, or I'm gonna look for ETH, because ETH, for example, for my system is cleaner. So I'm gonna look at ETH in a minute, but first I want to look at the question from Lise. Often I see a low below a low, liquidity below liquidity. How do you see which low is most likely going to be swept? A low below a low. Liquidity, like for example here, you have low, 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 low. Then oftentimes if you have this, I do expect that you take it all. Oftentimes when you take one, you take it all. Why is this now not working? Eagles, can we short sheet? Yeah, hopefully. That's my preference. I just quickly have to look. Okay, one moment. I have to reconnect my mouse, otherwise I cannot do the magic. Oh shit. Okay, so I have to do it manually. That is a bit shitty, but not too bad. Okay, so for ETH, yeah, I've been saying it over and over again, but I see this as still as distributive until proven otherwise, although it is trying to extract the maximum liquidity that's possible. So first with the model 1 right here, broke down, model 2 redistribution, broke down, came back to take out this liquidity with again a model 2 distribution, and right now we are forming like a new range low, range high, where we are again taking out the liquidity. So we still produce distributive behavior by taking the highs and breaking lower and creating low liquidity to the downside, but it's definitely not giving an easy way lower, which people are expecting. Because if you shorted here, you have been for weeks in a short by now without much progress. So they're definitely testing the patience a lot, but until we start accumulating, I'm still interested in shorts, simply because we are taking the highs and we are leaving liquidity below. And if we look locally, we again here are leaving lows behind. So low, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, basically mitigating the demand zones that are there. So the demand's already mitigated, so we only have liquidity left behind. So once it starts reversing, it can be quickly. And then here, if we look at it from range low, range high, or you pulled from high to low, where you have high, low. In this case, because we are overall trending down, I will personally draw it like low to high, but otherwise this is your range low, so it doesn't make too much of a difference. Then here we have range high. Right now we have tap 2, so potential 2-tap model with an internal 3 drive. So here, okay, doing it manually is very shitty, but locally we have range high, tap 2, tap 3, kind of a 3-tap bearish 3 drive, while taking out our initial range high right there. So I'm looking for potential short here, but until we start breaking structure, there is nothing to do. So if we look at our structure, we basically have high, higher low, higher high. So the best structure here is this one, but we can of course, if we're gonna wait for this low to be taken, then the RR is not that great. So we can look what is the structure from the low up in this last leg. Then we have high, higher low. This is not structure on the 15, but probably on the 10. Higher low, higher high. So until we break this low, there's simply nothing to do for me. So what I would like to see here is that we maybe stay here a bit, then break structure, hopefully get a retrace, and then can play a model 1, 2, 3, get that lower high and play the model 1 in the model 2. And then I think that can run at least, like local model is this is the target. of this bearish tree drive, then you can target the previous daily low. But because price is in a bigger distribution, I think it has legs to move at least to here as well, and potentially all the way to the range low, which is still the main target. But yeah, we have seen that each time the local distribution plays out and then it starts driving up again. So I'm interested in this short, but yeah, for ETH you have to have really clean triggers, because it's sheet, simply. It's a sheet coin. Yeah, let's look. What are the... Look. Only by zooming out you can already see, like, look at all those wicks. Where are those? And they are also to the downside, but a lot of... Look at all these wicks, these big wicks, the big wick there. And now we are also forming big wicks again, showing that price has not the strength to push higher for now. Let's see. What if we make a new high? That could of course also be the case. If we make a new high, then this potential bearish tree drive is then invalidated. So then that idea falls away, and we know it's the same as, this is basically a model 1 distribution, right? With tab 1, tab 2, tab 3. And we know that if you make a 4-tapper, so basically invalidate your distribution, that oftentimes it wants to push higher. So then I'm going to be careful, because then I think it has legs higher. And then I'm just going to ignore this internal one and see if we maybe make a new high, then break lower, and then see this as a general 1, 2, 3 model 2 distribution. I think eventually this could be pretty likely to play out if we look at how this range so far is developing. That we here maybe go to the target of this model, local model, take it out, then again go back up to take out the liquidity and then sell off. Because in this range all we see is that they are leaving nothing behind. So it could be that a lot of people are looking for shorts all the time, and that the market makers see that as well, and that they don't want to give anyone a free ride. Because every time you think I'm in a good short position, price comes back to really test every little part. So if they continue to do that, this could be such a situation. I want to quickly look at the order flow to see what's happening on ETH. So on ETH we have a resting daily point of control above us. Let's reload it, because I'm not sure why it keeps giving that loading signal. Yeah, okay, so what we here see basically the same, just a lot of sell-side liquidity being built up, some poor lows, but above us we have a daily point of control. So there is a reason to take that out before potentially reversing. So that's also something to keep in mind. If we invalidate that high and take it out again, maybe price wants to push into 1945, which is right here. Okay, so I'm gonna mark it out. 1945 is a daily point of control. So maybe if we invalidate that high we made and push above, this is the next big level to look at. So yeah, let's see. But overall, I'm looking for shorts into moving otherwise. I see a long answer by Kijo, so quickly looking at it. Some of my thoughts on this for my system. Some lows, highs are strong lows, highs, unlikely to be swept because they are protected by Wyckoff models. Yeah, agree. Structural lows, highs, price rarely being stronger afterwards or large expansion than that low deserves attention. Equal lows or highs tend to be big draws. Also true. I like the start end of a liquidity trail, lower high, strong points too. Yeah. Yeah, I think the last part is very strong. Indeed, is it part of a Wyckoff? So if you have a Wyckoff high or low, that is like a super strong low. Is your low protected by demand? Also strong low. And if your low is only like a naked low, which is not taken out. So just using the example I have in front of me, it's not the best one, but here you have a low, and then later on here liquidity is grabbed, and then you push higher. So then this is already a better low. But let's say you did not mitigate this low and just make higher lows while creating all that liquidity, then to me it's just a matter of time before you take out that low. So it's a bit hard to explain in short what Kijos has just explained, but I think he did a very, very well job on explaining it the way he did. But yeah, at the start it's hard to see what is this high, a strong high, or is this a strong low. But yeah, as Kijos it said, very strong. For Sol, I was looking for that model 2 accumulation right here, where I wanted to see this move and then look for longs. Unfortunately, we never got the model 2. Instead, we already started grinding higher, basically not giving an entry, which of course doesn't have to happen, but it was so clean. We waited for this level like 2 weeks and then we perfectly mitigated it, broke structure. So here we only had to get back to the range low and then long it, but instead price already shot higher and basically took out the high. So right now there's nothing really to do. It could develop into a new distribution, but at this point it's too early to say. It looks pretty strong, so I don't really see a setup at this point, which is all fine. Hype, still short, still expecting lower. Yesterday we had that push down, then in the stream I also said like we can get a retest of this supply where we had a very local model 2 distribution at the range high. Then we broke down quick a violet move into supply and then rejecting directly off it. And that is exactly what you want to see, because if you have, this is basically what I'm looking at for BTC, where we have that 1, this is the PO3, and then I want to see this rejection and then sell off. Basically here we are into, this is 1, this is the deviation, this is kind of that retest, and then I want to see price here sell off strongly to show that sellers are in control right here. If they're not, then price can just shoot through, but hype is basically showing what I want to see, where we get a retest in supply and then sellers step in, and this shows you that the sellers are in control, because you retest supply and then directly sell off. That's what you want to see if sellers are indeed having the stronger end right here. So we did take out the low, came back in the range. Supply right here did again its job, where we tapped into supply and then sold off. And now we have a slight tap of our range demand right here this morning with this tiny mitigation, but it was a mitigation. So we tapped it and then we internally had like a local model 1, 2, 3 model 1 or a bullish 3 drive, but not really a tradable one, because if you follow it, according to the rules, this is our low, this is our high, and this is step 1, this is step 2, this is step 3, and then you need to break structure back to bullish. In this move down, you don't have structure, so the last high that brings you into this low is this high. So this is basically your breaker structure level. So it broke it back to bullish right here. So this is basically your confirmation that this is your low and that you are likely to go to your range high right there. However, you have to consider, is it worth my RR? Was there news today? By the way, it's Wednesday. It's 4:30, so an hour before New York Open, and see that the markets are moving a bit. Might be some news, but I'm not sure. So yeah, at this point, are you going to long here at your mid-range? Put your stop here for target right there. Yeah, that's obviously not a good setup. So this was a 3 drive, but if you follow the rules, not really tradable one. But overall, I expect this high to be taken, and then interested to see if we can reject from there. Overall, I still think this could get the continuation into the bearish PO3. So let's see, maybe we take the high, sell off, redistribute, and then go lower. Overall, I don't see much reason to get above this high right here, because that clearly sold off yesterday already. So I think sellers will defend this zone. So my stop is above this high, basically risk free. So yeah, I'm just gonna see how it develops. I think it still looks pretty good. But I see that the market is now moving higher. Not seeing anything specifically. The White House Crypto Summit is happening today. Yeah, okay. So what I said, I want to see on BTC structure and slow move. Right now we are seeing a strong move. So that is not really solid for the potential short. So then I have to see what happens. Right now it's clearly showing strength. So that's not what I want for my short, at least. Or at least for the short trade. So probably needs more time if I want to get into a trade. What's ETH? Almost making a new high. Okay. But yeah, overall, I still am looking for continuation of that short. We do not have. Oh yeah, on ETH, on hype, we also had that daily point of control. Let's see if we cleared that out. No, okay, so that one is a little higher at 59.38. So there could be a reason, 59.38, for price to move into here and then reject. If we take that high and then get back and maybe even get a redistribution right here, could be a new short. But yeah, let's see. For now I'm just comfy in the short. If we get back to the highs, then it did not play out. Part of the game, no worries. So let's see. Then the others, hype, link, yeah, it's not really interesting. Virtual, oh, virtual is still interesting. Let's see. Baron getting ready. Yeah, it could be the motherfucker that knows everything. Good morning, GXTML. And by the way, everyone that joined along the way, welcome to the stream. Each day, more and more people are joining, so super good to see that. I'm still interested in longs on virtual because we are in a confirmed Model 1 accumulation. So we have tab 1, we have tab 2, we have tab 3, with a super clean break back to bullish right here. So if we look at structure with low, a lower high, a lower low, bullish break. So at this point you can expect a higher low for a higher high. This is basically what I'm expecting. Now we just need to find an entry. I hope to see this move mitigate that range low demand and then push higher. But you do not always get what you want. And you have to just listen to the market, what the market has to tell you, and not be stubborn. So if you have structure going down and it gets broken back to bullish, this is basically where the market tells you this might already be enough to move higher from now. So I would love to see price go here, but basically with this bullish break, the market tells me this could already be your low and that you are going higher from here. So I'm not being stubborn and just want to see if we can get an entry, but then again I still need one of my entry models before I can execute the long. So yesterday we kind of had like a local distribution, was not tradable, I didn't like it. And I also was advised to be super careful with taking like a local distribution while you are in a confirmed accumulation. Because nothing is more painful than shorting a coin that's going up and that's in an accumulation. So what I here want to see is that we reaccumulate, which would make sense because we have super clean demand just below, like here with 1 hour, it's 2 hour. Yeah, basically let's just take this whole 2 hour demand zone. Maybe it's even 4. Yeah, okay, so it's even better. It's 4 hour demand. The 4 hour demand before pushing higher, which now aligns with taking out the local low. And then we can get a potential 2-tap model, or preferably a 3-tap model, but tap into demand, break structure back to bullish, and then see if we get like tap 1, tap 2, tap 3. Model 2 reaccumulation, and then that could give a pretty wild runner for eventually a move into that high. So this would be super nice to get into a long, which is also what I'm looking for mainly. If we do not take that low, I cannot really take a long right now because I don't have a confirmed low. And that's why I always wait for my Wyckoff models, because then I have a stop loss that is protected. Right now, you can think, okay, I'm gonna long and I use this low as my invalidation, but yeah, then more often maybe it might work 1 or 2 times, but most of the times you will get wrecked. And then it does tap into demand and then it goes. So that's not what I want. Let's see, because it seems, okay. Supply breaking. Taking extreme liquidity. Yeah, obviously, and this is what I always say, I can have a bearish bias, but if I don't get my setup, then there's nothing to do. So right now, I want to see weakness. This is the opposite of weakness. So then it doesn't really look like that bearish plan is going to succeed. So then I have just to look at it in a different way. Let's quickly look. Okay, ETH is also taking that high. Hype is taking that negative point of control. Okay. Well, then we just zoom out and see what is price doing. We do have 4 hour demand right there. Let's see. We had a 1 hour supply zone, which is now being flipped, aka flip zone. So that looks pretty strong. I would say this is the local demand. Yeah, this might seriously be bear and Trump. This is a pretty wild move. Yeah, this looks quite bullish, so I'm not really interested in shorts anymore until we gonna start super like a lot of weakness or tree drive. But so far I would not be interested in shorts until we start breaking this low again. Or take that high and start distributing. But so far, like these impulses, it's dangerous to short into them. So right now, also here the market just tells you what it is doing. This is strong, so then you have to be very fluid and don't stick to a short bias. When the market tells you it's not working, then you have to listen to that. So short plans have been deactivated as of now, which is also for ETH because we are breaking that high. So then it looks actually really strong. That does not mean that I directly go into longs or anything. It just means that the setups I was eyeing, I'm not gonna follow them. This is still looking pretty good. This is pushing higher. Link is not really doing anything, but our Link needs more time. Yeah, okay. So this is a good live example of you can make a pre-plan and look at shorts, but if you do not get a reaction, then you have to just flip your bias and not be stubborn. While in the past, I would have seen this and then think, oh, this is fake, I want to short, let me short it now and then use this as my stop and then get wrecked, just because your ego cannot accept that you are wrong. But you have to listen to what the market tells. Okay, let me look at the chat. But first I want to see what is happening behind the move. So we see a lot of buying, or at least quite a lot of spot and perp buying. It really looks like there was some sort of a catalyst, but we did not have news apparently. But here you can see aggressive buying in those candles. Here with delta exploding, spot exploding, or like exploding. After these weeks, this looks like exploding, but it's just a little bit of volatility. But after seeing dry paint, it finally looks like something. So yeah, not sure what it is, but you are going to for that 1 minute supply on BT's high from Tuesday. Could be. Negative weakness, gold perfectly tapped, extreme supply plus flips on the local range. Okay, gonna have a look at gold as well. USDT swept Tuesday low now, but obviously very strong move down. Hey guys, I'm long towards DDT previous weekly high because that's for that. Everything's pumping. Big excited around. Okay, apparently yeah, there's no news, but it looks like a lot of coins started pumping at the same time. So you would expect some news, but it's not there. So it could be insiders, Baron Trump, but who knows. Okay, yeah, watch this level still. And let's look at gold. Like gold also pumping right at that point. 12:30, that's often when news releases are. Oh, this is total. Never mind. Oh, gold as well. Well, what? Yeah. My gut feeling is that Baron Trump is behind the buttons. Okay, so price on gold, my bias was basically that we had that local tree drive here, and oftentimes if you have a local tree drive, it's not weird that is the start of a new range, where the third drive of a local move, like here you have tap 1, tap 2, tap 3, price clears out that basically the target of that tree drive, And then if you zoom out, price is still trending up, so then you can pull your range from high to low. So this is the new range I'm basically looking at, where I think the range high is a nice PY, but especially the range low is super nice because we have a lot of demand zones right below. And then internally we had this local move up, high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, bearish break. So right now full bearish break, so price is now retesting that supply of that breakdown, where technically we could expect a lower high for a lower low, but yeah, always, I think you guys that follow me longer, I only short or play structured moves. I never ever short a move like this. Not anymore, at least. I've done that too many times and I've got wrecked too many times doing that. So that's not how I trade, but yeah, I would not be surprised if price rejects from it, because it's simply supply after bearish break. So technically we can expect a lower high for low low. I just lost my balls to do that over the years. Overall, I'm most interested in potential accumulations if we start accumulating here by taking out that range low into these demand zones below. Let's see. NQ and ES as well, all indices. Yeah, that's pretty weird that like all the markets are moving at the same time while there's no news. That's, and also not even at New York Open or so. Just at a random, an hour before New York Open, everything starts moving. It's pretty weird. Still not seeing news. Gotta be excitement around the summit. Yeah, but if gold and indices and all are also moving, then it's not crypto specific. Or it's all I see is negative news. Yeah, crazy. No news, but times always when news is coming out. Yeah, that's why I was thinking, might there be news, but apparently nothing. Something's fishy. Yes, prepend baby. Fidelity digital asset says lower than. Yeah, I don't think that's it. Weird. No idea what caused the move, but yeah. To go into the question of BM, what are the stats saying for the week? Wrong. Stats for the daily have flipped bullish, obviously. Look, at the start of the day it followed the bearish projection, but that's why often it's I only start looking at stats really when around like an hourly before this or so, because they have some time to apply them. And right here you can see that it was at the lower bands of the bullish days and now pushing back into it. So today could be a bullish day, but yeah, I think it's a bit weird. So let's just look at the weekly. And here, like these are the bullish weeks, neutral weeks, bearish weeks. So you don't have to be a genius to see that this looks more like a bullish week compared to a bearish week. So I can choose here close bearish. They can see this is not really behaving like a bearish week. If it still wants to behave like a bearish week, then that high from yesterday has to hold. Make a new high, and it is very, very likely you get a bullish continuation, statistically spoken. If you look at the bullish, then this looks like a typical bullish week. And then 80% of the weeks had the low in by now. 82% of the weeks put the low in. Oh wait, we have to look here. 18% of the bullish weeks had the high in by now. So that's very low. 90% of the bullish weeks put the high in later, and 88% of the bullish weeks put the high in further. So if this is a bullish week, which statistically it looks like it, then there's obviously a lot of upside, where 50% of the weeks would reach at least 60, yeah, let's say 66k. It's 50% of each would reach it. But yeah, I said it also like 66, so that would reach right here, which will be a breakout of the range. However, as said in the Discord as well today, I'm not paying too much attention at the statistics past weeks because we are so range bound. In the trending market, these statistics are like a gem, like they're super powerful. But since we are moving so slow and are just like literally, if we look at the past 5 weeks, all we are doing is make a move from the range low, from the range high to range low to range high to range low to range high. And this can continue until it does not, obviously, but there is nothing, not like a trend or anything, so I'm not paying really a lot of attention to the stats. I will do that when we start trending again. But for now we are at historical low levels of volatility and volume that we are in mega chop. Okay, I don't want to take much more time. I don't have much to say, unfortunately, at this point. I had some pre-planned short setups, which with this move are basically invalidated. I'm gonna read Twitter or like X after this, because there has to be some explanation why all the markets are pumping. Like gold, look at it. But so in the past I would have shorted this, then I would have be wrecked right now, and I would short it right now again, and then again, and then again, till you get wrecked. But yeah, it's weird. Why is everything? Yeah, look, the S&P also pretty big move. So yeah, pretty. As Kijos is saying, yeah, fishy move. Like what? No idea what it is, but for now, to me, this is just telling me that probably for today, or like at least for the next few hours, I don't have a setup. Because I want slow price action and then a trigger and not impulsive moves. Also because I almost always need, no, not almost, I need structure to short. So right here we had that structure I told about, high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. Now we have higher low, higher high. So I can only short right now if we break this low, which then obviously is not a short anymore because the RR is shit. Or I need to wait for a new high and then this becomes my low. But that will take time. So right now I know that for the next few hours at least there is nothing to do for me on BTC, which is also like on ETH moving up strongly. And this is that price action where you have to be careful with going into shorts, because we like this liquidity trail is wild. However, without a clean short setup, these trails can also just drag you into shorts without a confirmation. And that's what I see with a lot of people, is that they think, oh, there's a lot of liquidity, so that's the reason why I'm shorting it. But if you don't get a setup, then it won't be the first time that you see price slowly compressing, building like a lot of liquidity, and then get like a massive scam pump, then some consolidation, and then later take it all out. Like typical sheet move. So yeah, here also waiting. Hopefully this one is close to that target. So hopefully this can redistribute and then go lower, otherwise break even. And the other coins, yeah, need some time. So unfortunately, patience required, for me at least. You can all trade, of course, how you want. I just have to see more price action. So I think that was it for this session.